Yep.
What is the state of the race speech that Nikki gave the other day? I thought I was torn between, is this a head fake to get the media to give her free attention, or was she really going to drop out because she was afraid that she was going to pull a Marco Rubio and get crushed in her own home state? I felt like she definitely did got the media to pay attention to her, but I'm still befuddled, and that's my word of the day. What she's actually trying to do.
Well, I mean, look, it was a head fake. That's the only reason she's getting attention these days. I mean, nobody's covering her South Carolina bus tour. She's getting, not a lot of people are attending the bus tour. Donald Trump can have one or two rallies, which he's had in South Carolina, and outdraws her whole day and 2 or 3 days on her bus tour. So it was something to get attention. My problem is with it now is this. I have no problem with anybody running. I have no problem with anybody staying in a race. I get that. As long as you're running a race about what you want to do and how you want to build. She has transferred since New Hampshire, though, until completely attacking Donald Trump. She has become a Democrat surrogate at this point for the Joe Biden administration, in which she is actually everything she says against Donald Trump and against Republicans are going to show up, and already are showing up in ads, super PAC ads, and other things that will show up in the fall against Republican candidates. To me, this is not looking ahead 4 years where she may have had a chance to come back. I'm not sure now. She's believing the wrong people in saying she should stay in, because here's the last point. The only reason she's staying in is she believes Donald Trump will somehow not be on the ballot in some order in the near future, and that by staying on the ballot, she becomes the de facto nominee. When reality hits, that's probably not going to happen. And if something did happen to Donald Trump, which I don't think it will, there'll be other Republicans to take her place, and I don't think she would ever be nominated.
Johanna, I want you to respond in a second to the Obama, to the Biden surrogacy, because they are using her words. But before that, Gail, I want to ask you, just from a Republican operative standpoint, you've been in several presidential campaigns. Here's what I don't get. She's been asked, what's your path forward? How do you win a state? She was asked on News Nation the other night, what state can you win? And she said, well, we just need to do better than we did before. And okay, well, still, you never win by getting a lot of second places. That's just, you won't ever be the nominee. But secondly, doing better than New Hampshire, where she was about 10 points down, means single digits in your own home state that you were governor twice of. Right now, by all accounts, the closest poll has her in the mid-20s, losing to Donald Trump. So just tell me, if you were advising her right now and she comes in at minus 20 or something in her home state, how does she make a case to go forward to Super Tuesday?
Well, let's go back to New Hampshire for a second. I think she was riding kind of a high because she did exceed expectations in New Hampshire. And then a lot of pundits, a lot of consultants looking ahead towards Super Tuesday, towards her home state, they were saying, well, she has a chance to be able to close the gap because the voting rules in those states allow for, say, independents to vote. Okay, so that was one reason that she could say that she was moving forward. And then I think that the speech yesterday in South Carolina was her opportunity to sort of shine in the middle of everybody's attacking her. So she did the head fake of everybody, kind of thought, oh, she's going to drop out. But she got up on that stage. And my view is this: she wants to leave it all on the field. I think she knows the writing's on the wall. This is her final attempt to sort of give it all that she has. But look, she's only attacking him now. She wasn't attacking him with the same kind of strength in the primary, because I'm sure people were telling her, you can't do that because you will alienate voters who might like you, but aren't going to like you if you continue to attack the president. Yeah. So she was being too conservative. She wasn't taking any risks. And as everybody on this panel knows, you need to take calculated risks when you're down. You have to do it. There's nothing to lose. And if those calculated risks pay off, it's a huge payoff and nothing to lose. So I think that's what she's doing right now, is leaving it on the field, driving her message against Trump. And I think she wants to end this campaign with, quote, no regrets.
So, Johanna, getting back to what Doug was saying, this isn't some Republican talking point. Axios and Politico have all pointed out that the Biden campaign is literally using Nikki Haley's attacks on Donald Trump as they're putting it out. They're getting it out to media outlets and saying, this isn't us. This is Nikki Haley. She has become their number one surrogate.
Well, if the Democrats are using her as our surrogate, we're doing a really bad job, because every time she's on, I see her criticize Joe Biden and call the, big elephant in the room that both of our candidates have been Social Security eligible for a very long time out front and center. And the thing is about Nikki Haley, I've got to respect her. I'm a Democrat. I've been a Democrat since I registered as a Democrat when I was 18 years old, much to my father's chagrin, by the way.
Smart man.
But, the truth is she's been a Republican longer than Donald Trump. And she is trying to do everything she can to bring some order to that party. And I'm not telling Dean Phillips to drop out in the Democratic side. I'm not going to tell Nikki Haley to drop out on the Republican side. Now, whether they're going to actually make a difference in the race is a different question. I think if Donald Trump, something happened to him, the Republicans have other candidates. If something happened to Joe Biden, there are other candidates than Dean Phillips. But she's been a Republican longer, and I am not going to tell her not to stay in that race, because she has every right to be in that race.
All right. So
Doug, one thing on the surrogate front. If Nikki Haley is is Joe Biden's surrogate and the best one, it's because they don't have any other surrogates. They don't. They have zero other surrogates. They're looking to Nikki Haley, who beats the crap out of both of them every single day. And
that's true, which is
you guys, to the point. Did you notice that after President Biden gave that Hindenburg level press conference a couple of weeks ago, that nobody came out? Sean, you and I both know.
You know what? I got to tell you
that we would have had surrogates ready to go and get out there and support the message and push back on us. And they had nothing.
So
the organization of the press office.
To use a phrase, reclaiming my time. To Gail's point, when you just said that, I'm sorry, I had PTSD, because I remember the night that President Trump fired Comey. And he said, okay, Sean, go out there and get the surrogates. I literally called every single Senate office, me or my team, and to a T, every one of them said, sorry, we're busy. And when there's no surrogates, that's not a good sign. I'm actually really glad you brought that up, Gail, because I thought to myself, I've been there. When no one's willing to back you up, that ain't good.
Well, let me bring something up, and I've listened to both your arguments. Number one, you, from a Democrat perspective, we're not going to use a full minute clip. We're going to use a 30-second clip, and we're only going to talk about Donald Trump from the Democrat side. So this idea that we're criticizing Joe Biden is hogwash. Number two, the idea that, the issue here of leaving it all on the field, no regrets. Somebody needs to have an honest conversation with her. And actually look at this. You said there's no pathway forward. And you made a great point. She turned in the last 3 weeks after her great announcement of New Hampshire would be her savior, so to speak. She's made her turn to a hard attack on Donald Trump, which wasn't working before. And now when you go on national TV and you say, I'm looking at open primary states, and you're in a Republican primary, you basically said, I can't get Republican votes. I can't win this without Democrats giving me money and making me votes. Then you basically forgot where you're at. I don't mind anybody running. I mind running when it gets to the point where there is no honest way out of it, and you begin to be a detriment to your party's ticket. She can stay as long as she wants, but it's actually hurting, not helping. So, and somebody needs to have that hard conversation with her.
Gail, you said she left it all on the table. There was a piece in Politico that I want to read you guys part of, because it says, in an era of nationalized politics, it's not unusual anymore for presidential candidates to lose their home states in primaries. Witness Marco Rubio, who got his clock clanged by Donald Trump in Florida, or Elizabeth Warren, who finished a distant third in Massachusetts years later. But in losing your backyard tends to be a sign that you're not going to win the nomination. Okay, we all agree on this. But here was the line that was interesting to me. In Haley's case, however, that's not really a problem, because it's not about 2024 anymore. It may not even be about 2028. Then the article stops, and I'm like, well, then what is it about? What are you leaving it all on the table for, Gail? What is it? Is it that you just want to be the martyr?
No, I think that it's for herself. I think that it's for her own campaign. But listen, she was never going to get the nomination. I mean, there wasn't ever a day where somebody said, oh, she might win. And here's why. The base of the party is working class, blue collar voters that love Trump. And her campaign persona is not one that lends itself well to being attractive to the working class blue collar voter. They probably look at her and say, I can't relate to her and her high heels and all of this the stuff that she's talking about. It didn't appeal to them. And nobody was able to capture that vote. I mean, after Iowa, you saw Donald Trump got 61% of the vote of voters that didn't have a college degree. I mean, that should have been the writing on the wall for everyone. Early on, sure, there was an opportunity for somebody other than Trump to win, but that opportunity closed after the first debate.
Yeah.
So I have worry though with that perspective because one, I'm from a blue collar family, blue collar town, Galesburg, Illinois. And if, Nikki Haley doesn't appeal, she's a governor who, even in the state legislature went on the record trying to hold the legislators in check on giving themselves their own salary increases. If her heels are a problem, Laura Trump's heels are a problem. A lot of other people have a problem. I think what she failed on was actually, Gail, the ground game. Like she did not invest in actually putting on boots on the ground. And that's what we did with the Obama campaign to upend Hillary Clinton is we put boots on the ground. We were talking to voters every day. And for me, what I'm seeing is a bunch of candidates who have played these big media blitzes and didn't actually invest in the hard work that they needed to do. I think she could have resonated, but it's too little, too late. Yeah. Although, again, I'm not going to tell her to get out.
Can I just ask this? It's your home state. You were governor twice. Yes, you need a ground game. I get it. But if you want to talk about an uneven match, she knows every county, every diner, every VFW. Donald Trump's been there has done a bunch of rallies.
We would have lost South Carolina had we not won in Iowa with President Obama. I remember.
But this is her home state. But here's what I don't get. How do this isn't a ground game issue. They are choosing by 30 points that they don't like you and you're governor twice and frankly, a successful governor.
We'll see. Right.
Yeah.
We'll see. But
all right, hold on. I just want to ask you, Johanna, I want to ask you this question. We've talked about, and again, it's not just us talking about this. The media has said she has basically been a surrogate for a Biden. You may disagree with that or not, but let me ask you this question.
She's very effective at it.
Is it from a Democrat standpoint, is it better or worse that she stays in the race? Would you rather have her drop out and go one-on-one with Donald Trump or have her stay in the race for the next few weeks?
We would lose the general election if she was the candidate. I was at our reunion.
Hold on. That's time out. Just hold on. This is my question, though. She's not going to be the nominee. That's not going to happen. Gail said it. Doug said it. I mean, okay, that's being the case. Is it better or worse that she drops out sooner rather than later?
I don't think we care. There are so many people who used to be in Trump's orbit who are speaking out against Trump. You could name the person who you say is a surrogate. And unfortunately, we're not having a real contest on our side. So we're, going to have Joe Biden again. So it's a rematch that most of Americans do not want.